me to introduce you to the GPU upgrade that everybody can make. The big void warranty sticker. Oh no, what have I made? I've brought this creation into the world. Do you want to buy a brand new graphics card? Maybe a shiny RTX 3000 or a 6800 XT? Well, chances are you can't. But hear me out for a second, because I have the possible solution to all of your problems. Because let's say you have a graphics card like this, the 5700 XT. This is still a really capable little graphics card, and for most people, I dare say this is going to give you all of the performance that you need. And for a lot of people, this is actually going to be a huge factor as to whether they should upgrade. Because if you're happy with the performance, but you're really unhappy with the thermals or the acoustics, then that's probably going to tempt you over the edge to sell your old graphics card and get something new. But here's the thing, you don't actually need to do that, because there are products out there that are designed to upgrade the cooling solution that you've got on your current GPU without costing you too much money, but giving you much better thermals, acoustics, and if you're going to overclock or just take advantage of the GPU boosting technology that you get on modern day cards, actually give you better performance too. Allow me to introduce you to the GPU upgrade that everybody can make. There are 20 of these in stock right now, I believe. The Morpheus GPU cooling replacement from a company called Ryujin Tech that also make PC cases and things. Now, Overclockers UK did send this one out, which is pretty cool. It is just a heatsink inside this box though. You will actually need to add your own fans. Here we're using some from Fantex because they're very scalable. They can be quiet when they need to, but also they have a lot of performance if you want to ramp things up. But the really interesting thing, for me at least, is that cooling solutions like this, add-on products, used to exist quite a lot back in the day, whereas I actually had to look quite hard to even find one. And I think the reason is that cooling solutions on graphics cards are actually pretty good these days, to the point where most of them just don't need an upgrade, or at least it's not economical to do so. It's essentially just graphics cards like this that have a blower style design that really could do with an upgrade. And the reason for this is because the old trusty blower that sounded quite funny. The old trusty blower is more geared towards any and every case rather than gaming modern day chassis. So this fan here will essentially just chuck all of the air out the back of the graphics card, out through the case, and it will just stop it building up and actually causing this thing to overheat. And this absolutely works as intended, but it's just not the most efficient way of doing things, and it absolutely makes a ton of noise. Let me show you. Can you hear that? It's ramping up already, and we're not actually in a game yet. Well, we're in the menu, but you get the point. This is the Horizon Zero Dawn benchmark, and we've got GPU Z up at the side to properly monitor what's going on. The hotspot of this GPU is actually hitting around about 95 degrees, which is pretty scary. I guess it can cope with it, but it's not exactly ideal. But everything you can see is quite hot. And the noise levels that we're getting from this thing, it's not actually quite as bad as I remember, but it's still not great. I mean, have a listen. Yeah, you know, it'd be pretty annoying, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But this is a very good case. It's fully mesh. It's got loads of fans in it, and the temperature outside is around about 8 degrees. It is still winter here in the UK. We actually hit 100 degrees on the GPU temperature hotspot. That is insane. Don't forget about the performance difference as well. These GPUs will clock themselves higher if the temperatures are lower, so if we're going to put a better cooling solution on it, then hopefully we'll see better performance, and if you do decide to overclock it later, you could go even further. So I think it's time to actually bite the bullet and say goodbye to the reference design, and hello to Morpheus. Corsair's Hydrox is your gaming PC's new best friend. This exceptional custom cooling system not only lets you get unbelievable temperatures, but it's near silent with extreme performance. It is so easy to get started. Simply fire up the Hydrox configurator, pick a style and theme, and then let Corsair handle the rest. You'll get a full list of everything that you need with an easy buy link from Corsair.com. Get started with custom cooling the easy way today with that link down below. I really hope this is going to be an easy upgrade. Otherwise, George is going to get upset. If you don't know that reference, I'm disappointed in you. You haven't lived. This is definitely the point in the video when it is time to place your bets down in that comment section below. Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? Important bit, if you do decide to actually do something like this to your card, either putting a water block or any sort of third-party solution on, even just taking it apart and replacing the thermal paste, you will void your warranty. So if you've just bought a brand new graphics card, you're not really sure whether you need to do it, I wouldn't recommend proceeding at this stage. To actually get started, you'll notice there are a load of different screws that will actually put this thing together. Most graphics cards, it should be pretty easy just because they're standard Phillips crossheads. But if you do decide to go and proceed to take apart an NVIDIA reference design, then you need hex screws. So you need to get yourself a specialist screwdriver to actually take that apart. Grab your screwdriver, take all of the screws out and place them somewhere safe because you don't want to lose them. That's your back plate removed. Definitely doesn't look quite as good without it, does it? Always helps to take a picture of the screws as you're taking them apart so you actually know how to put it back together if you ever need to. It's quite sad actually, I can feel all of the life of this GPU cooler just fading away. The big void warranty sticker, and then you can start peeling it away. Again, very slowly. This is for the LED for that Radeon logo. Once that's removed, you then have your bare bones PCB, and it's amazing if you've spent a fortune on a graphics card just how little you're actually technically buying for that money, right? This is the GPU itself, the graphical processing unit. You have all of the memory modules around the side. Obviously, the more memory, the more modules you'll have. You've got the VRMs, the power delivery, the I/O, and because you have all of these thermal pads and thermal grease that's actually connected to the memory and the GPU itself, that will then put the heat into the heatsink, and then that's how it goes out the case. It's quite interesting how it works, but we're here to do some upgrades. Grab yourself some thermal interface remover, or TIM, and then just brush away any residue that you have on the card. The compound that's on the GPU die itself is probably a little bit harder to remove, but please don't use too much force as you don't want to break anything. You don't have a warranty anymore, remember? When you're done, your GPU should look something like this. Just place it on a soft boxed surface and put that to one side for a second. And then we can grab our Morpheus, the thing that I'm most nervous about, which normally would be taking apart the GPU, but here, I trust it, but I don't entirely trust it. I think the instruction manual is going to be a necessity really for this one. You want to make sure you're doing it right. It does come with plenty of heat sinks and things though, which is pretty cool because unlike a block, you're not going to have direct contact on top of everything like you did with the previous cooler, or if you do decide to go for like a water-cooled block or something. So here is our little bag of thermal pads, pastes and goodies. We have our heat sinks. These are actually quite heavy. Mounting hardware, and then the bit I'm most interested in, which actually does look pretty good, the heatsink, or the cooler if you like itself. It's pretty well made actually. There's not any sign of like bad paintwork or anything, which is pretty important. I think it looks a lot better in real life than it did on the box. I just hope it looks good once we put some fans on, because it will look a little bit weird, but will it be good weird or bad weird? Step one is to screw in the retention arm. Once you've done that, put that to one side and then start to grab your thermal pads and your heat sinks and things, and then follow the diagram that's on these very pretty instructions to make sure you're actually putting them on the right place on your GPU. And again, this bit is very important because if you miss some of these off, the GPU itself might be absolutely fine temperature-wise, but one of your memory modules might overheat. This has happened to me before, as you guys probably know. You can find that video in the top right corner of your screen. Please don't get it wrong. Take time, make sure it's working properly. If you find that you are struggling a little bit, you can always grab the old cooler, place it on top, line up those screw holes, and then just make sure that everything you're actually adding to the graphics card does properly match up with what you had before. Fast forward around about 10-15 minutes and we are complete, but it did take a little bit of thinking because, well, a couple of things weren't quite right, to be honest with you. This top heatsink, as you can see, is stuck on, but it's not really the right size. I imagine it'll be fine, but it's not really the sort of thing that fills me with confidence. They just didn't provide enough of the right shape. And then the smaller ones, they give you thermal pads to actually connect the two together, but they just don't stick. And I know you could clean it down a little bit more, but it does not inspire confidence. So I've actually gone off on one a little bit and stuck this down with a little bit of thermal paste, which could be a mistake, could work absolutely fine, only time will tell. The next step is just to make sure that you've actually fitted everything properly and nothing falls off. If it does, obviously you need to remedy that. It's better to happen now before you actually put it inside your PC. You want to grab your little sachet of thermal grease that they give you inside the box. They don't give you very much, but that's because you don't need very much. Grab your back plate and the little spring-loaded screws that they give you. Lay it down on a flat surface. Grab your graphics card, line up the holes, and then gently place this on top. And then find you have clearance issues. It's all starting to come off now. Do you remember when I said it needs to be easy? And it's not. This would be so stressful if this was my own PC that I was upgrading. As soon as I put this in the computer, all of these bits are just going to fall off. I'm livid. What is the point of giving you thermal pads that just don't fit? What is the point in that? Oh look, they're just all falling off, man. Backplate on and screws in. And now look. It's fixable, but I don't want that risk in my PC. That could happen at any time. They need to give you some sort of like thermal glue to stop this happening. When you put it in your system, it's going to be upside down. Real talk for a second. Am I just being stupid? Am I missing something here? Am I doing it completely wrong? Or does there need to be some sort of thermal glue in this to stop this happening? Surely that one, right? Or am I just being a nincompoop? Small rage aside, this is a problem that could be rectified. There are solutions around this, and the VRM itself looks decent. So we're going to give this the benefit of the doubt, but be aware that it's definitely a very DIY solution. You will need to actually put your fans on top though for best results. You can use 1 or 2. I would suggest using 2. Oh no, what have I made? I've brought this creation into the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the RX 5700 XT, the PC Centric edition. I'm quite literally speechless. It doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to when I was putting the fans on, but it doesn't exactly look sleek and elegant, does it? It looks as if you've strapped 2 fans to a heatsink and just put it on your graphics card. I wonder why. Oh, and all the bits are coming off again. At this point, if I can so much as place this inside the PC, I'm calling it a success. Yay! We did it though! Here we go! Check it out! Our PC! Doesn't that look good? Unsurprisingly, we have another heatsink that's now decided to come off and ruin our day. It has been quite the journey, but we have now arrived at our fully RGB destination. But ultimately, it was never actually about the looks. It was all about the performance and the thermals. And the good news is that this is remarkably quiet. It's not really making any noise at all, to be honest with you. Oh, whoa, 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 stop. The memory's hit 104 degrees. Whoa, 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 whoa. Absolutely not. What I was about to say is that I actually haven't found a solution yet to get the heat sinks to stay stuck to the memory. So the memory temperatures were going to be a little bit on the high side, and I wasn't quite expecting it to jump all the way up to 106. But that shows you the problem with some sort of DIY solution. Unless you've got everything covered, you've made sure that all of those VRMs are actually cooled properly and all of the heat sinks are actually where they need to be, then you can run into some serious problems. And we're not talking about, a couple of frames a second. We're talking about your graphics card potentially frying itself, the memory chip overheating, and worst case scenario, your whole graphics card then becomes useless. As I said, I've done it before. It's not what you want to do. It is still falling apart, but I have got the GPU memory modules attached to a heatsink just for one run, just to see if this works as a proof of concept. But at the moment, it does seem to be okay. The memory is around about 76 degrees. We can cope with that. The memory's just hit 92 degrees, so this still isn't optimal and clearly isn't installed properly. I think as a proof of concept, and I think assuming you're willing to actually put the time in and fix all of these problems and not just expect it to work out of the box really simply, then actually there is a fair bit to like here. If you're running a graphics card that is really old that you just don't like because it makes a complete racket, then as I say, in theory, this can solve your problem. But for 99.9% of people, clearly this isn't really the optimal solution for you, and I would advise looking at something else. Either bide your time, wait to get a better graphics card, or maybe get something on the used market. If you do want to check out more about this product, then you can find it linked in the description below. And of course, while you're down there, don't forget to check out Corsair Hydrox. Corsair has a wide range of blocks and fittings to match any modern gaming PC, with brand new GPU blocks that are perfect for RTX 3000 series. All thermal pads and pastes are pre-applied, so they'll slip onto your components like a glove. Create the loop of your dreams and give your PC that next level look with Hydrox today. Check it out with that link down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts though. Please do let me know down in the comment section below. Smash that like button, get subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.